One man, one fake identity. The entire Japanese Navy fell for it. This wasn't Hollywood. This was real. Douglas Fairbanks Jr. pulled off the impossible during World War II. He created ghost fleets that never existed. He made admirals see invasions that weren't coming. He turned light and sound into weapons of mass deception. The Japanese scrambled their forces. They panicked. They lost. And they never knew what hit them. He wasn't even supposed to be there. Nobody believed his plan would work. The Japanese had spies everywhere. How did he hide an entire fake fleet? One mistake would have exposed everything. He made that mistake on purpose. The setup. June 1944. The biggest invasion in history is coming. But there's a problem. The Japanese Navy is watching everything. They have ships everywhere. They have spies in every port. One wrong move and thousands of soldiers die. The U.S. military needs a miracle. They need the Japanese looking somewhere else. Anywhere else. But how do you fool an entire navy? Enter Douglas Fairbanks Jr. Yes, that's his real name. A Hollywood actor turned naval officer. He walks into a room full of admirals with an insane idea. I can make them see things that aren't there. The admirals laugh. This is war, not a magic show. But Fairbanks doesn't back down. He's done this before. He's already fooled the Germans in the Mediterranean. He used lights, sounds, fake radio signals. The admirals stop laughing, because what Fairbanks is proposing could change everything. Or it could fail spectacularly. They give him 2 weeks to prove it works. The impossible mission. Here's the problem. The Japanese aren't stupid. They have advanced radar systems. They have code breakers. They track every single ship movement in the Pacific. Fairbanks needs to create a ghost fleet, ships that show up on radar but don't exist, an invasion force that looks real from every angle. But here's the twist. He can't use real ships. There aren't enough. Every available vessel is needed for the actual invasion. So Fairbanks has to build his fleet from nothing. He starts collecting equipment, speakers, lights, reflectors, recording devices. His team thinks he's lost his mind. One officer asks him directly, "Sir, how is a speaker going to stop the Japanese Navy?" Fairbanks smiles. It won't stop them. It'll move them. He's planning something called the Big Trick, a deception so elaborate that even his own team doesn't know the full details. Only 3 people know every detail, and one of them is a Japanese spy. But Fairbanks knew about the spy. Building the illusion. Fairbanks sets up on a remote island. His team works around the clock. They're building what looks like a normal military base, but nothing here is real. The ships in the harbor? Inflatable, made from rubber and wood. From the air, they look perfect. Up close, you'd see the truth in seconds. The radio towers? Broadcasting fake messages, scripted conversations between imaginary commanders, weather reports for fleets that don't exist, supply requests for thousands of soldiers who aren't there. The lights? Programmed to mimic a massive base at night. Different sections lighting up at different times, mimicking guard rotations, kitchen shifts, emergency drills. One soldier asks Fairbanks, "What if they send a plane to investigate?" "They will," Fairbanks says calmly. That's the point. He's already planned for reconnaissance flights. In fact, he's counting on them. Because the Japanese need to see this with their own eyes. They need to believe. But there's something Fairbanks hasn't told his team. The fake base has a real target. The spy inside. Remember that Japanese spy we mentioned? His name is classified even today, but Fairbanks knew exactly who he was. A local translator working on the base, feeding information directly to Tokyo. Most commanders would arrest him immediately, but Fairbanks does something brilliant. He keeps the spy working, feeds him specific information, false invasion dates, wrong locations, exaggerated troop numbers. The spy reports everything back to Japan. The Japanese Navy starts repositioning their forces, moving ships away from the real invasion zone, sending submarines to empty waters. Fairbanks watches the intelligence reports come in. The Japanese are taking the bait, but he knows this is the dangerous part.
push too hard and they'll realize it's fake. Don't push enough and they'll ignore it. He needs them to believe completely. So he does something risky. He lets the spy discover secret documents, papers marked top secret left in an unlocked office. The documents show a massive invasion coming, just not where the real invasion is planned. Then the spy disappears.
The panic. The spy vanishes overnight. Fairbanks's team freaks out. He's going to warn them, they say. He knows too much. They want to shut down the operation immediately. Fairbanks refuses. Let him run, he orders. Here's what he knows. The spy will report everything to his handlers: the fake base, the ghost fleet, the invasion plans. And the Japanese will have a choice: believe it or dismiss it as Allied deception. Fairbanks is betting they'll believe it, because he's made one critical calculation. The Japanese military operates on something called saving face. If they receive intelligence and ignore it, then an invasion happens. The commanders will be dishonored. They can't risk being wrong. So they'll mobilize. They'll send ships, planes, thousands of troops, all to defend against an invasion that isn't coming. And that's exactly what happens. Japanese Naval Headquarters receives the spy's report. Within 48 hours, they scramble their entire defensive line. 4 aircraft carriers move north, 12 destroyers follow. They're heading exactly where Fairbanks wanted them. The real plan. Now the truth comes out. Everything Fairbanks built was a distraction. The fake base, the ghost fleet, the planted documents, all of it designed for one purpose: to clear a path for the real invasion, happening 600 miles south, where the Japanese Navy used to be stationed, before Fairbanks moved them. On June 6th, Allied forces launched the largest amphibious assault in the Pacific Theater. Thousands of ships, tens of thousands of soldiers. They hit the beaches expecting massive resistance. Instead, they find skeleton crews, minimal defenses. The bulk of the Japanese Navy is gone, chasing ghosts up north. The invasion succeeds beyond anyone's expectations. Casualties are 70% lower than projected. Entire strategic positions are captured in hours instead of weeks. Back at headquarters, the admirals who laughed at Fairbanks are silent. They're reading the reports in disbelief. One of them asks the obvious question: how did he know they'd fall for it? Fairbanks's answer is simple: because I made them think it was their idea. But the Japanese still don't know they've been tricked. The aftermath. For 3 more weeks, the Japanese Navy searches for Fairbanks's fake fleet. They send scout planes daily. Submarines patrol the waters. They're looking for an invasion force that was never there. Meanwhile, the real Allied forces push deeper into Japanese territory. Every day the enemy stays confused is another day of advantage. Supplies move freely. Reinforcements arrive unopposed. Japanese commanders start arguing among themselves. Some believe the intelligence was real, others suspect deception. But by the time they figure it out, it's too late. The strategic positions are lost. Fairbanks's operation remains classified for decades. Even after the war ends, nobody talks about it publicly. The full details don't emerge until the 1980s. By then, Fairbanks has passed away. Military historians study his techniques. His operation becomes a textbook example of psychological warfare. Modern deception tactics still use his principles today. But here's the crazy part. The Ghost Fleet operation wasn't even Fairbanks's most audacious trick. There was something bigger he pulled off. The legacy. Before the Pacific Theater, Fairbanks ran a similar operation in Europe. He created fake armies across the English Channel, convinced the Germans that D-Day would hit Calais instead of Normandy. That deception involved inflatable tanks, fake radio traffic, even a body double of General Patton.
The Germans kept entire divisions stationed at Calais for weeks after the real invasion. Fairbanks understood something most military minds didn't. Modern warfare isn't just about firepower. It's about information, perception, making your enemy believe something so completely that they act on it without question. One historian calculated that Fairbanks's deception operations saved approximately 15,000 Allied lives, maybe more, by making the enemy fight ghosts instead of real soldiers. Today, his techniques are still classified. Parts of his operations remain redacted in government files. Some secrets apparently still too sensitive to reveal. Douglas Fairbanks Jr. died in 2000. He never wrote a memoir, never gave detailed interviews about his wartime service. He took most of his secrets to the grave. But the question remains, what else did he do that we still don't know about? This American spy changed World War II espionage forever. His intelligence operations against Japan rewrote the rules. From Pearl Harbor secrets to Japanese naval code breaking, the Pacific Theater was full of spy stories like this. Double agents, deception, mind games that saved thousands of lives. The Japanese Navy never saw it coming. Want more untold World War II intelligence operations? More spy secrets from the Pacific? Hit subscribe, because history's greatest tricks are the ones nobody talks about.